New this week from DC Comics, Batman Dark Age, #1, written by Mark Russell, art by Michael Allred. Batman Dark Age is a revisionist take on Batman's early years from two visionary artists who recently did a similar treatment to Superman in Superman Space Age. Let me just say this off the bat. No pun intended. If you're thinking that this is just another Batman early years comic where DC is rehashing the same lore over and over again with increasingly artistic and abstract depictions of Thomas and Martha Wayne getting murdered, then you're being cynical and you need to stop. This is an intentional, thorough, realistic depiction of Batman's early years that may become the definitive narrative for generations in the future. All of the details that you can think of about Bruce's childhood just off the top of your head that aren't compelling or aren't explored enough or were done better in blank comic are finally being given the attention that they deserve. I mean, the character of Batman has been around for decades, and yet we're still finding stories to tell about him. Also, another selling point, this is Michael Allred we're talking about. This is a legendary artist who makes every single panel alive and memorable. Alright, let's dive into issue #1 now with some spoilers. Dark Age begins with a series of moments spanning across decades of Batman's life as Bruce recalls his father's speech to the World's Fair in 1956, promising a new age for Gotham. A city that helps its citizens fulfill their best lives in a place where people share a common community value that feels like family. This speech seems to echo across Bruce's mind as a young boy, as Batman fighting a group of faceless thugs, and as an elderly Bruce sitting in a wheelchair watching the television. It's a really beautiful narrative structure to begin with that instills the idea of how important time is going to be to this story. We then see an elderly Bruce pushed around hospice care as he reflects on his life as a ghost, a man who will not be remembered because he chose to act in secret. We see Bruce simply draw the Batman symbol in the diary his caretaker gave him to record his fading memories. We are then flung far in the past, revisiting the fraught reality of Bruce's childhood in the wake of his parents' grisly murder. It's here that we start to get some amazing, discerning character and world-building details from Mark Russell that I didn't know I needed in the Bruce Wayne story. Russell really delves into the concept of Bruce's ascension to the head of Wayne Enterprises, showing one of the board members, Roman Sionis, aka Black Mask under normal circumstances, but I guess we'll see, take over as sort of a pseudo-chairperson, filling in for the actual interim president who chooses to remain absent and nameless. Sionis is publicly critical of Bruce's takeover at the age of 18, and pointedly against spending in the Gotham Future Project, which is led by Lucius Fox. Can I just say that this is one of the most logical and succinct integrations of both Black Mask and the Wayne Enterprise board's motives that we've ever gotten? We also learn how this daunting responsibility affects Bruce's childhood in a number of ways. The first being the threat of death from assassins representing rival corporate interests, which leads to an amazing scene with Alfred waiting for the would-be assassin in a goddamn tactical suit and a rifle and a body double mannequin. Always love getting to see Alfred be an old-school badass. We need more of that. From the older Bruce that years later he investigated Alfred, thinking cynically that maybe he had some debt to pay his late father, but he actually finds out that he's just a good man who wanted to protect an innocent child. The second effect that Bruce's future has on him is the development of his out-of-control life of abandon, protected by his inexhaustible money and team of lawyers. Really interesting to see Bruce as this bratty, emotionally unstable kid rather than the intelligent, discerning man we know him to be. In fact, the only thing that young Bruce seems to care about is this comedy club that he buys on a whim, where the comedians are able to speak their mind on the state of society. Which, I guess, same, little Bruce. Yeah, I love Bo Burnham. Bruce's unfettered life of underage drinking and misdemeanors reaches a head when he tries to stop what he thinks is a mugging, but is actually a clever setup by a young Selina Kyle to steal his money. Bruce is able to fend for himself, but he is blamed for the assault, and his lawyers, under Roman Sionis' word, leave him out to dry. And so Bruce is sent to prison for 10 years, allegedly, which revokes his right to the Wayne Board presidency and leads him down the path to becoming the Batman. The new additions to this story just feel so natural and necessary, and it makes me so happy that an early years Batman story with just about Bruce Wayne can still be so compelling and rich. I also love the underlying cultish plot of a group of faceless ones controlling the underbelly of a 1950s Gotham and the Wayne Board as well. I'm wondering if it's going to evolve into a League of Shadows story. It is nice to have a historical Gotham storyline that isn't so mob and gang-centric. Realizing that we have two excellent rebooty, historical, shifting perspective Batman stories right now in Batman Dark Age and Batman First Knight. So maybe I'm just a sucker for Batman without the modern action and futuristic tech. Remember to support your local comic book store and grab Batman Dark Age #1 in stores now. Love the ironic juxtaposition of this imagery and just the depth and scale of this action scene. And who doesn't love an I Spy Easter egg hunt? Damn, Bruce is such a little asshole. These faceless ones are absolutely terrifying. Bruce picked the wrong cop to bribe. Batman Dark Age is sure to change the way that Batman fans look at Bruce Wayne and the history of the Dark Knight, so stay tuned for issue #2.